Good evening, guys, and happy Thursday to all of your sunshiny faces. So today we didn't end up going for our morning walk like we have been, or at least been trying to, again, over the past 2 weeks. We went 3 times at least last week, and then we ended up going twice this week. We didn't go on Tuesday, I think it was, and then we didn't go today because we're gonna try and go tomorrow. It's actually supposed to be kind of colder tomorrow, but it's still kind of gonna be pretty warm. Just I think colder than it was today maybe. And then Saturday's supposed to be pretty decent. Then Sunday it's supposed to get really cold and be like in the 30s for a high, and then after that it's supposed to only be like in the 40s like all of next week. So we might still try and go walking next week too. The reason we started doing it was because it's been so nice out, you know, again, like 50s and 60s and stuff like that. But if again too it's not gonna get much higher than 40s, again, I don't know like if we're gonna go next week. I mean, I wouldn't mind. Saying it's kind of tough though is that like we're walking, and so like we're kind of, you know, again, you kind of work up a sweat, like especially there's this one part before we get to the park that is completely, it is like a straight incline up the hill. Like I feel bad for all the people that live there, because like on that street, because like there's one house that's like at the top of this hill, and I was like, if you had to seriously walk up there from the street, like that's a huge pain. But it's pretty, you know, steep, and like I know, especially when I walk up that part, like I start working up a sweat, and then normally like throughout the rest of the park it's pretty level, so like I don't end up like getting like too hot where I just feel like I'm overheating or like I dress too warm or something like that. I've dressed, I think, fairly decent, you know, again to where I've stayed warm on the days when it's been a little bit cooler, but I've also stayed cool enough that again too when I know I'm kind of, you know, gonna be getting my heart rate going and, you know, again warming up and stuff like that, I'm not too hot. So again, I think that's been pretty even for the most part. However, if it ends up getting to be like where it's like really cold out and I'm dressed up super warm, but I end up again too working up a sweat, then I'm gonna end up being like too hot, and I don't know. So like, you know, but then again too, it's like I can't like, oh, take my sweatshirt off or something like that, because then like the wind, especially too, like the 2 days that we were walking with like the winds blowing, it's like it stings when it's blowing and it's that cold out. So and like, you know, and most of the time we always seem to be walking into the wind on top of that too, so it's even worse of a pain. But anyways, like I said, tomorrow we're planning on going, but today we didn't. And that is because when I ended up, well, I didn't wake up. I actually have no clue what time it was because I did not look at my clock at all. I think the sun hadn't come out yet, but I'm not sure because it was thunderstorming. And the thunder was so loud, guys. Now, I did have my window open a little bit because I normally have had my window open at night just because it keeps it a little bit cooler in my bedroom, because I told you guys my room always seems to be the hottest room in the house. Just because of kind of where it is, and because I have my door closed most of the time and stuff like that. So like at nights especially too, it's been like pretty nice to have it to like open just a little bit. But like even during the day, a lot of times I'll still have my window open too. But I sleep a lot more comfortable too when it's colder, so that's another bonus, I guess, for having the window open at night. And you know, it normally gets colder outside too, so then it lets in some of that cold air. But I had my window open a little bit and I could hear the thunder, and originally when I woke up I just kind of thought that it was like just loud thunder and like it was thunderstorming, but like I didn't notice any specific, like, I don't know, I honestly don't even know if I opened my eyes. I just know that there was thunder and there were really, really loud noises, and I at one point too was like kind of like stirred awake or something like that, and I thought that like Jack was in the other room like moving his furniture around or something like that, because like it felt like stuff in my room was like making noise, like it was like shaking or something like that. And like I said, I did not entirely wake up. I have no clue what time it was. All I know is that like I heard these things. I could hear the very loud thunder outside. I could hear what sounded like, again, too loud-ish noises, like also too like my window kind of rattling and stuff like that, and because it was open it seemed like it was kind of like worse. But because also too, like, I could hear, it wasn't just the window, but I could also hear like the storms, like kind of, you know, the storm windows kind of rattling too. But I ended up finding out that there was a lightning strike, and again too, like not actually in our town. I think that there was a couple, because a lot of people were saying that they heard like really loud, what sounded like bombs, like dropping noises and stuff like that. Well, one of the lightning strikes actually ended up hitting a gas main and ended up creating like a crater in somebody's yard. Not in our town, but in a town next to us, which could be the loud noises that we were also potentially hearing in addition to that. Like, it was the thunder, but it was also the lightning that was like creating these, you know, like the lightning strikes. And specifically this one, or people said too, it was like rattling the ground. And I have no clue if that was any connection at all to what I kind of experienced this morning when I woke up, because I swear I was like, why is Jack awake and moving stuff around in his room? I was like, it's super early in the morning, isn't it? And again too, I didn't even bother to like look at the clock or anything like that. And then I realized, like, after like a couple seconds, again too, I think my eyes were still closed, I was like, oh no, that's just thunder outside, and like kind of just fell back asleep. But I have absolutely no clue if like I heard that like lightning strike that ended up creating this like crater. There was a huge big thing too. They had to have like the gas company come out, fire departments, like all that kind of stuff. Obviously that's something that's very important if that ends up happening. And you know, again too, like, you know, you can have telephone poles get struck and trees and all that kind of stuff, but you know, again too, like gas mains are also, you know, those are one of the very important things that you need to make sure get, you know, handled and taken care of. And can create a lot of damage in that way too. But I thought that that was just absolutely crazy that like whatever and however it ended up happening, you know, like people are showing like pictures of what ended up, you know, sort of happening, and then it was like this big kind of crater that ended up, you know, getting like blown into the whole yard and stuff like that. And my mom said that the same thing ended up happening to her when she was little. It was in our town. It was a really, really bad lightning thunderstorm kind of thing, and it ended up hitting a tree that was in their yard that was actually cut down though, so it was just like the stump, but it ended up hitting it, like exploded, and like created again too like a huge like crater type ditch in their front yard. And my mom is, to this day, she is like terrified of loud noises. Like, she can't go to see fireworks. She gets terrified of thunderstorms. Not like terrified of them, but like again too, if she like sees lightning, she like gets like very freaked out and like covers her ears and stuff like that, just because of like that experience she had when she was that little. She said too that like right before that, she actually was like, the thunderstorm was so bad she ended up going into my grandma's room, you know, her mom's room, and then the lightning struck like shortly after that. And I guess that she was saying though, if she would have been in her room, it would have been kind of further away from where the like, because it was right outside of their window, I think on the second floor, but like right outside my grandma's window, so they were like both there together when that ended up happening. But she had been in her room, she might have been a little bit further away from it, but she said that she's still, to like this day, she is terrified of loud noises. So if she sees like lightning strikes, or if she ends up seeing like or hears like a firework, you know, you can kind of hear them like they whistle before they actually like go off, and she ends up getting like so freaked out like of the noise when she hears it, and then again to it, you know, again goes off, or you know, it's just like thunder afterwards or something like that. But she does not do well with that because of that experience that she had, and she was like, that was literally what happened. And I was like, yeah, well, that's what people are saying happened again too in this other town that ended up having this happen, that's like the right kind of near us. So like I said, I have no clue if that was the case, or I just woke up from all the thunder, because my mom woke up from it this morning too, and I have no clue if Jack did or not, but it was really, really loud. I also didn't ask my dad either, because I don't know if he was on his way to work when it happened, or you know, again to this thunderstorm. But I guess the lightning and thunder, people are saying, was just really, really loud. And even to like the thunder, they said was like it was happening simultaneously, meaning that like we were either really close to the storm or like something like that. But yeah, that's why me and Jack didn't go walking today, because I think it was still kind of raining when we actually finally got up this morning, and it was very cloudy all day, and obviously too, we didn't want to be stuck outside if there was another thunderstorm that ended up happening. So we didn't end up going walking today, but hopefully tomorrow we'll be able to. But I will see you guys all in tomorrow's vlog. If you guys did enjoy today's, make sure you guys give a big old thumbs up. If you guys are new, we'd love if you'd subscribe, and I'll see all of your sunshiny faces tomorrow. So bye guys.